Many gamers will tell you that gameplay will always overcome graphics. Reggie and the boys wholeheartedly agree here, but for console gaming, there appears to be a pushback to high fidelity and rich graphics at 30 frames per second, when most gamers would be willing to sacrifice that for a smooth 60 frames per second showcase. Reggie therefore wants to be a bit Ron DeSantis today and throw a spanner in the works, because in today's opinion piece, the Cockney Gamer gang is analysing the importance of great graphics, art style and indeed overall visual production values to demonstrate how in fact they can help build a story, create unrivaled immersion and showcase the characters for what they truly are. I could have used a few games here to prove the point, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be my chosen poison. By the end of the video you're going to see how the real protagonist here is not Arthur Morgan, but instead the remarkably crafted world in which you reside in. So grab yourself your saddle and let's have a chat. Before we go any further, if you've not played Red Dead Redemption 2, then please know Reggie and the boys will allude to some spoilers in our analysis. I won't be sharing main plot points, but instead some comments to the characters and what they become. If you've yet to play this, do yourself a favour, load up some Pornhub and enjoy the pleasures of the internet in other ways as to not ruin your fun. Red Dead Redemption 2 was released back in 2018, but it's the 2019 PC release we're focusing on here. So let's start with the story. The opening scene here is one of worry, trouble and fear, as the gang clearly have been through a big steaming pile of shit. The odds are stacked against them in a big way as they scramble into that rickety hut, showing its vulnerability by the flimsy door. But what I really want to focus on here is that very first scene as you open up the game, and it shows that the gang is slowly moving through this heavy snow, and this is amplified by how the snow itself is sticking to their warm coats, with this wonderful particle effect taking place as that snow falls. In fact, you can actually see the individual flakes here, emphasising how bitterly cold that storm is. The poor horses probably wish they were in a bloody glue factory. Another graphical feature here is the way in which the snow deforms. The boys are balls deep in the white stuff, and the struggle and desperation is for all to see as the horses battle through. In fact, this early scene is dominated by these harsh conditions throughout, and shows Mother Nature is the gang's greatest enemy after an already tumultuous escape from Blackwater. As you go through this early chapter, you also start to see what appears to be trees broken, presumably from an avalanche. These little nods of the environment are littered throughout Red Dead Redemption, but much of what you see here is to showcase one thing. This area is life-threatening and not somewhere that they want to be. What the snow represents is the mindset of the gang, and as things improve in this early level, with Arthur finding Marston and food being provided to the group, the snow, it starts to ease up and green shoots of grass appear. Its melting almost represents a new opportunity for the gang, and so the backstory of this gang is very much shown in the visual context rather than the words we see and hear on screen, and the production values on display in this open segment really highlight the power of how games can take advantage of well thought out visual clues. In the opening scene we're also introduced to some key characters. One of those is Micah, a bag of a man who is introduced as a shadowy figure where wind bellows and the environment is nothing short of empty, dark and hopeless. Micah doesn't immediately answer to Dutch's call, and if you look in those eyes of his, he clearly is not to be trusted, and within seconds the graphical detail presents this man as one to watch out for. He is literally introduced in the most dire moment of the gang's struggle, and as he gallops ahead of the group, he is almost lost to the fog and blizzard, showing him as the slippery little fucker that he is. And let's focus more on those facial animations, shall we? The pain of these characters is all too clear to see. Look at Adler's face here as she fends off Micah, and likewise his own delight at seeing her pain. And see here, people, Hosea is the first man to really doubt Dutch when they first meet up at the camp. His body language is one of doubt, exasperation and frankly distrust, and compare that to Dutch, the way he turns away when being spoken to and then resting his leg on the log as the alpha he is. In fact, if you look closely, all these characters have their own body language that flows through the game, and they move in their own unique style. It's brought to life through some incredible motion capture, and the graphical fidelity and textures of each character really help to amplify the struggles that they're all facing, such as scarring or dishevelled faces, showing the immense stress that they've been experiencing. The clues, people, they're in the detail of who Micah is, how wise and trustworthy Hosea is, and indeed Arthur's own conflicted loyalties. Everything here is a nod to the story's past, the present, and indeed the future of where graphics and art style come together to bring these themes to the forefront. Next comes immersion. Red Dead Redemption 2 delivers a shitload of immersion by throwing us details at almost every single second of the game. What it does is deliver on the themes of the Wild West, with the natural land being consumed by modern civilization, and it's graphics that help bring this to life. Firstly, let's discuss the wildlife, where animals look and feel real. So much so, when killing a deer, you can actually see the wiggles of fat moving up and down on the back of the horse here, very much like a few of my conquests in the good old days. It's a small detail, but one that shows these animals as more than just basic polygons. Herds of buffalo roam the land, rabbits dart out from bushes, and flies will congregate near water to demonstrate the humidity. This part of the US is brimming with life, and it sets the perfect backdrop to the natural world that you find yourself in. And one of the main things to bring to life here in the Wild West is the weather. It's subtle, but oh so effective. Clouds will slowly build up and darken in the distance, and just as you think it's about to piss it down, they just as quickly clear up, leaving bright sunshine to penetrate down on you. That's what she said. And to jump back to that snowy opening, the way it rests on the trees proves how intense these blizzards are. One of the best parts graphically for me is the use of volumetric fog and clouds. Fog in particular rests on the lands as the sun rises or sets, with flickering lights just about penetrating through, giving a moody and atmospheric setting to towns and cities. And the ground textures themselves really shows the Wild West in all its glory, in particular the mesh elevation that is on display. In other games, you do not see the same level of bumps. You don't see the undulations, hills, the crevices, slopes, and the mountains, especially when all displayed on screen at once. As you write about in Red Dead Redemption, it rarely feels like you come to a flat open space, and that sums up the glory of the vistas and the rawness of the land here. As for those textures, the artists have done such a great job here that wood looks and feels flimsy. The train here, for example, looks battered, with its sun-worn sides showing the long journeys it has taken. And check out the mud fight scene here, and the way that the mud sticks to Arthur's coat with it drying up. It amplifies the feeling that this early town is the Slough and Scranton of Red Dead, with its rough around the edges townspeople. For me, what is so amazing with the art direction is that it feels like some poor sod manually placed every tree and bush in the game, because no matter where you look, literally no matter the angle, it's like a bloody postcard where you've taken a photo for an exotic land. Each angle is beautifully crafted, and rarely do you feel bored on what is on display. And the final part of the immersion to discuss here is the animations and general liveliness of the lands. It's rare to look at any open world section in Red Dead Redemption and not see some sort of movement, whether that be clouds in the sky rolling over, the nod of a horse as it's hitched, a townsperson walking to work, a horse carriage rumbling through with mud deforming in its tracks, or even those poxy flies by the water. No matter what you're doing, there is always movement on screen, always something to look at, and it presents the world of Red Dead Redemption as a place full of life, of wonder, and it brings that realism factor to 10. I haven't even spoken about the incredible details of the guns and the shop items that can be bought and inspected. It's wonderfully crafted, where it takes us all to the Wild West and brings the story to life in ways that few other games can. And so I bring today's video to a close, because graphics can bring so much to the table and help amplify that art style. I've not done a technical analysis here, Digital Foundry style. I'm not bloody clever, but more an evaluation really of visual production values, because truly it's what makes Red Dead Redemption 2 what it is. Yes, it has a great story, it has absolute staggering sound, which I could give a whole video just to that, and of course the gameplay is solid, but people, the graphics, they are the scenes here, allowing developers to allude to plot lines, to backstory, and indeed bring to life the Wild West in a believable and sometimes haunting way. Reggie agrees that graphics aren't everything, and I still think 60 frames per second should take precedent over fidelity, and that's why he loves PC gaming in general. There is no denying though that when done right, graphics can provide more than just eye candy, and it's exactly why the world of Red Dead Redemption is really its greatest character. Until next time people, Reggie out.